send my condolences to little man, nephew, man. We was just on Family Feud together, all of us.
Lil Jon ruled the world until his worst nightmare hit. His son vanished, then turned up dead. No phone, no shoes, no answers. Now, his ops are showing up, apologizing, and some are quietly confirming what police won't say. This isn't just tragedy, it's a mystery that refuses to stay buried. A father's worst nightmare. If you know anything at all about Lil Jon, then you already know that this man has been around the game for a very, very long time. We are talking about a man who basically built an entire movement in hip-hop from the ground up, the king of crunk himself. A man who gave the world some of the biggest, loudest, most unforgettable party anthems in the history of music. And just not too long ago, he was standing on one of the biggest stages on the entire planet. We are talking about the Super Bowl 58 halftime show with Usher in 2024. That is how high this man was riding. His career was experiencing a whole second wind. He had new projects, new energy, new momentum. Everything was lining up perfectly for Lil Jon to keep climbing. But then, out of absolutely nowhere, something happened that would bring everything to a complete stop. Something that no amount of money, no amount of fame, no amount of hit records could ever prepare a father for. His son was gone, and the way it happened has left everybody with more questions than answers. Now, before we get into all of the details surrounding what went down, and trust me, there are a whole lot of details here that just do not sit right, let me tell you exactly who we are talking about. Nathan Smith, also known professionally as DJ Young Slade, was the 27-year-old eldest son of rapper and producer Lil Jon and his estranged wife, Nicole Smith. And this was not just some kid who was sitting around riding off of his daddy's famous name. No, not even close. This was a young man who genuinely put in the work to build something for himself. Nathan was born on April 30th, 1998 in Decatur, Georgia, right there in the heart of the Atlanta metro area. And from the very moment he came into this world, music was in his blood. And I am not just saying that to sound dramatic. I literally mean it. When Nathan was nothing but a little toddler, barely able to walk, he actually contributed vocals to one of his father's biggest records. As a toddler, he sang the hook on Lil Jon in the East Side Boys' 2000 club hit Bia Bia. Just think about that for a second. This kid was making music before he even learned how to tie his own shoes. And as Nathan got older, that love for music only got stronger. A pivotal moment came in 2008 when Nathan was around 10 years old at an after party for the Trans World Skateboarding Awards. Seeing his father hype and control the crowd from the DJ booth completely changed the trajectory of his life. Lil Jon downloaded the Serato app for him, provided turntables, gave basic guidance, and let him experiment independently. By the time Nathan was about 12 or 13, he had graduated from the Scratch DJ Academy in Los Angeles, one of the youngest in his class. And in his early teens, he served a year-long stint as touring DJ for then Disney star Zendaya. As a naturally shy kid, that experience pushed him to develop his own stage presence. And you could tell that Nathan loved his father more than anything. Just listen to the way he talked about growing up as Lil Jon's son.
I even got a tattoo of his signature. It was like something ironic for me because it's like, you know, it's just my dad, but had to get the signature. It was like, yeah.
That is what kind of bond they had. Nathan literally tattooed his dad's signature on his body because even though to the rest of the world, Lil Jon was this massive celebrity, to Nathan, he was just dad. And that is what made their relationship so special.
What up, Will?
And I was talking about the anger management tour. It was like 2004. I was like, what, like 5, 6, something like that.
Nathan was talking about being brought on stage as a little 5 or 6-year-old kid during one of the biggest tours of that era. Just a little boy standing next to his father in front of thousands of screaming fans.
And he brought me on stage and I was just like, bro, I was so shy, bro. I was a little kid, whatever. But it's just crazy to have experiences like that and then go home and we just like drinking tea, playing video games.
That right there tells you everything you need to know about who Nathan was and who Lil Jon was behind closed doors. On stage, Lil Jon is the wildest, most energetic performer you have ever seen. But at home, they were just a father and son drinking tea and playing video games together. That is the kind of man the world just lost. Nathan went on to graduate from New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music in May 2020, studying audio engineering and production. After graduating, he started building an impressive resume. He co-produced Saweetie's Get It Girl in 2021, which was featured in HBO's Insecure and a Beats headphones commercial. He worked on Ice Cube's Talkin' Bout These Rappers from the 2024 album Man Down. He was featured on MTV's Family Legacy Season 2, which premiered on Paramount Plus in March 2025. This was a young man doing everything right, building his own path, making his father proud every single step of the way. And then, on the morning morning of February 3rd, 2026, everything changed. Nathan Smith was reported missing after leaving his home in Milton, Georgia, under unusual circumstances around 6 a.m. He left on foot. No phone, no wallet, no shoes, no keys, nothing. Officials indicated he may have been disoriented and in need of assistance, adding that he might not be wearing clothes and may have had no belongings with him. Something made this 27-year-old man run out of his house in the early hours of the morning with absolutely nothing on him. A multi-agency search began immediately, and for 3 days, nobody could find him. 3 entire days. Then, on February 6, 2026, at approximately 11:53 a.m., divers with the Cherokee County Fire Department located and recovered a body from a pond at Mayfield Park near Nathan's Milton residence. The body was believed to be Nathan Smith, and it was later confirmed.
DJ Young Slade, the son of Lil Jon, has died at 27 years old. Lil Jon confirmed the news in a statement telling us he is extremely heartbroken.
And just like that, DJ Young Slade was gone at 27 years old. Authorities said there was no indication of foul play, but the Milton Police Department Criminal Investigations Division stated they would continue to treat this as an open and active investigation. No further details, no autopsy findings, no toxicology results have been released as of now. Just a 27-year-old man who ran out of his house one morning and was found in a pond 3 days later. That is the story they are giving us. The King of Crunk and the enemies he made. Now, to fully understand everything surrounding this situation, you have to understand who Lil Jon is and everything he went through to get to where he is, because this man has a story that most people do not even know the half of. And along the way, he made some very serious enemies, people who wanted what he had, people who felt like he owed them something, people who flat out felt like he did them dirty. Lil Jon, born Jonathan H. Smith on January 17, 1971, in Atlanta, Georgia, grew up in Southwest Atlanta as the eldest of 5 children. His father was an aerospace engineer with military experience. This was not some kid who came from the streets with nothing. This was a young man who came from a solid family, and he used that foundation to build something incredible. At Frederick Douglass High School, he joined the marching band and began DJing at age 15, hosting basement parties that gained local popularity. After high school, he worked his way into the Atlanta music scene, eventually landing a gig as an A&R executive for Jermaine Dupri's So Def Recordings, where he rose to executive vice president of A&R and executive produced the So Def Bass All-Stars compilation series. Then in 1995, everything shifted. Lil Jon formed Lil Jon and the East Side Boys with Big Sam and Lil Bo, and from that moment forward, the crunk movement was born. Their records were loud, their energy was unmatched, and before long, they were taking over the entire hip-hop landscape with songs that literally made it impossible to stand still. Signed to TVT Records in 2002, Kings of Crunk went multi-platinum, and the follow-up Crunk Juice in 2004 did the same. As a producer, Lil Jon was behind some of the decade's biggest records. Usher's Yeah won a Grammy for Best Rap Sung Performance in 2005. He produced hits for Ciara, the Ying Yang Twins, P.D. Pablo, and more. He was untouchable, but here's where the problem started, because with all of that success came people who wanted their piece. And the first and biggest enemy Lil Jon ever had was the very label that was supposed to be helping him. TVT Records, owned by Steve Gottlieb, was accused by multiple artists, including Lil Jon and Pitbull, of withholding royalties and mismanaging promotions. Lil Jon sat down and talked about this himself, and even though he tried to keep it positive, you could hear the frustration underneath every single word.
All in all, TBT was a great experience because it was a place where I could go and be myself.
Now on the surface, that sounds like a man at peace with what happened, but keep listening because the truth starts to come out real quick.
How so? Like just not taking care of his artists. He didn't take care of his artists.
And that is the real story. The man who was making TVT, the biggest independent label in the country, was not being taken care of by the very people who were supposed to have his back. But because Lil Jon is the type of person who does not like to dwell in negativity, he said exactly that.
I don't like to dwell on any negativity. I like to keep everything positive, find the positivity out of a situation and take that and move on. But
that is Lil Jon's character in a nutshell. But even with that positive attitude, the damage was done. The TVT feud delayed his solo album Crunk Rock, originally planned for 2006, all the way until 2010. That is 4 years of lost momentum, lost revenue, and lost opportunities because of one man's bad business practices. And in 2008, TVT filed for bankruptcy after losing millions in various lawsuits, leaving artists like Lil Jon in limbo. But TVT was not the only problem. The people closest to him turned into opponents too. Big Sam, one of the original East Side Boys, went on record and told the whole world exactly why the group fell apart, and it was ugly.
I was trying to just be kind of political correct. I ain't really want to tell what really happened, but the group broke up because of the money.
There it is, straight from one of the founding members of the group. It was about money. Big Sam said he started asking questions about where his earnings were going, and the moment he did, everything changed.
Where my money at, man? Where my money? Where money?
That right there is the question that blew up one of the most iconic groups in crunk history. Big Sam wanted to know where his royalties were, where his mechanicals were, where the record sales money went.
So I started asking these questions. It was almost everybody's attitude changed. Like everything wasn't the same no more when I started asking all these questions now.
The second Big Sam started asking where his money was, the attitudes around him completely shifted, and that is how it ended. After Crunk Juice in 2004, Lil Jon parted ways with group members Big Sam and Lil Bo due to financial disagreements and TVT-related drama. The group was done, and it was not just business beefs either. Memphis rappers like DJ Paul of 3 6 Mafia publicly checked Lil Jon over the origins of crunk, insisting Memphis pioneers started the sound before Atlanta popularized it. Gangsta Pat responded to Lil Jon's comments about Memphis in a video, emphasizing buck music as a precursor to crunk. Even Atlanta's own Dem Franchise Boys accused Lil Jon of stealing elements of their snap sound during the mid-2000s. So when you add it all up, Lil Jon had enemies from every direction. The label that was supposed to support him stabbed him in the back. His own group members felt like he did them wrong. Artists from other cities felt like he took credit for something he did not create. And even artists from his own city felt like he borrowed their style without giving credit. That is, a lot of bad blood, a lot of people carrying resentment, a lot of ops. And Lil Jon himself knew exactly what that kind of pressure felt like. He talked about the dark side of fame in a way that most people do not hear.
No, because they just see the private jets and the trips and all that. They don't realize, sometimes you can't go nowhere because people bugging you.
That is the reality of the life he was living. The private jets and the trips look good from the outside, but nobody sees the isolation. Nobody sees the pressure.
Yeah, it's most people couldn't deal with this life.
Most people could not deal with everything that Lil Jon has been carrying. The beefs, the betrayals, the business losses, the constant scrutiny. And now, on top of all of that, he had to bury his firstborn son. The ops show up and the questions remain. Now here's where this whole story takes a turn that nobody expected. Because when Nathan Smith passed away, something remarkable happened. The same hip-hop world that had spent years going back and forth with Lil Jon, the same industry full of people who had beefs, disputes, and grudges against this man, they all stopped. Every single one of them. They put all of the nonsense aside, and they showed up for him. And what they said when they showed up tells you everything you need to know about what this loss really meant. The hip-hop community rallied around Lil Jon with heartfelt messages. People who had been on opposite sides of arguments for years suddenly had only one thing to say: we are sorry, we are here for you, and your son did not deserve this. One of the first people to step up was E40. Now E40 is a Bay Area legend. He is from a completely different region than Lil Jon. And in hip-hop, regional pride runs deep, but none of that mattered when tragedy struck. E40, a longtime friend, sent condolences that were described as particularly emotional, and you could hear the pain in his voice when he spoke about Nathan.
I gotta ask you, man, our brother, Lil Jon, man.
Yeah, man, I send my condolences to Lil Man. Nephew, man, we were just on Family Feud together, all of us.
E40 called Nathan his nephew. That is not something you just say. That is a bond. He was not just offering hollow words. He was telling the world that Nathan was family to him, and he had just been with the whole family recently.
Me, Lil Jon, his son, Shorty Putt, and Too Short, man, like a few months back.
You guys made history together. I know you have so much love for their family.
They were all together just a few months before this happened, on Family Feud of all places, laughing together, having a good time. And now, E40 is standing in front of a camera, trying to hold it together while talking about how much he is going to miss Nathan.
I just send my love and support. You know what I mean? Lil Jon, anything you need that I can provide, I'm here for you. I love you, and you know that, brother. And we're gonna miss nephew.
Anything you need, I am here for you. That is what real love sounds like. That is what it looks like when the community comes together, no matter what happened in the past. And it was not just the hip-hop world. Even Shaq, one of the biggest names in all of sports and entertainment, reached out personally to Lil Jon.
How are you supporting him at a time like this?
I talked to him yesterday, so my condolences goes out to him and his family. It's tragic.
Shaq actually got on the phone and called Lil Jon directly. He did not just post something on social media and move on with his day. He picked up the phone and made sure his friend knew he was not alone.
I don't know how that feels, but I'm sure I know it's devastating for him. So like I said, my condolences go out to him and his family.
And Shaq was honest about it too. He said he does not know what it feels like to lose a child, but he knows it is devastating. That is a powerful thing for a man of that stature to admit publicly. And then there was Lil Jon's own statement. And this is the part that really hits you, because you can hear a father's heart completely shattered in every single word.
In his statement, Lil Jon tells TMZ, "I am extremely heartbroken for the tragic loss of our son, Nathan Smith. His mother, Nicole Smith, and I are devastated. Nathan was the kindest human being you would ever meet. He was immensely caring, thoughtful, polite, passionate, and warm-hearted."
That is a father describing his son, not as a DJ, not as a producer, not as a brand or a legacy, but as a human being, the kindest human being you would ever meet.
He loved his family and the friends in his life to the fullest. Jon goes on to say he was an amazingly talented young man, a music producer, an artist and engineer, and a graduate of NYU.
Nathan loved his family to the fullest, and what makes this whole thing even more heartbreaking is what Lil Jon said next. In his statement, Lil Jon said, "In our last times together, we're comforted in knowing that we expressed that very sentiment to him. At least in the end, they told each other how much they meant to one another. Not every family gets that chance." On Instagram, Lil Jon posted a video montage of moments with Nathan from childhood to adulthood captioned, "This hurts so bad and I love you, son," which received an outpouring of support from the entire community. In another post, he highlighted Nathan's Spotify music, writing, "Slade released this when he graduated from college. He was so happy to express his art and do it himself. I was so proud of him for doing it all on his own." Even in his grief, Lil Jon was making sure the world knew his son's talent and independence. Social media platforms were flooded with tributes. On X, formerly Twitter, users shared messages emphasizing how devastating this loss was for the entire hip-hop culture. On Instagram, Lil Jon's posts were overwhelmed with prayers and condolences. On TikTok, fans created emotional tribute videos with slideshows of Nathan. Across every single platform, the message was the same: "We are hurting with you." And that is really what this whole situation comes down to. Because when tragedy strikes, all of the beefs, all of the disputes, all of the grudges, they disappear. Every single person who ever had a problem with Lil Jon put it aside and showed up as a human being. That says everything about the gravity of what happened. But here is the part that nobody can stop talking about. And it is the part that keeps this entire story from being put to rest. Because there are still so many unanswered questions. Based on the investigation to date, there is no indication of foul play, but the Milton Police Department Criminal Investigations Division will continue to treat this as an open and active investigation. That is what the official statement says: no foul play. But also, we are not closing this case. Think about what we actually know. A 27-year-old man with no reported history of issues suddenly runs out of his house at 6 in the morning with no phone, no shoes, no clothes, nothing. Officials said he may have been disoriented and in need of assistance. Multiple agencies searched for 3 full days and could not find him anywhere. And then, on the 3rd day, he was found in a pond that was right near his own residence. Some sources have mentioned that Nathan had been treated for a viral infection or rash shortly before his disappearance. But no deeper details have been made public. No autopsy findings or toxicology results have been released to the public as of February 10th, 2026. No official cause of death, no official manner of death, nothing, just silence. And that silence is what is eating away at everybody, because a father just lost his son, a mother just lost her firstborn. Lil Jon and Nicole also have a younger daughter, Nahara, born in 2024, who will now grow up without her big brother. And the world is left sitting here wondering what really happened to Nathan Smith on the morning of February 3rd, 2026. What we do know is that Nathan was loved. He was talented. He was kind. He was passionate about his craft. He was building a future that would have made any father proud. And he was taken away far, far too soon. Whatever the truth is behind what happened that morning, one thing is absolutely certain. The world lost a good one, and Lil Jon lost everything. Rest in peace, DJ Young Slade, Nathan Smith, 1998 to 2026. Gone way too soon. Love this video? Click on these cards for more.